It's our pleasure to welcome to the show Hollywood veteran filmmaker James F. Robinson, and he is the director and producer of a film called Tinsel, the lost movie about Hollywood. This sounds perfect for you, Jan. It is a
Oh, it totally is.
Zap Pictures
Hello. Totally. Hi.
Let's talk about just from looking at the art. I'm seeing all these movie stars. What does that mean? The lost movie about Hollywood, James?
Well, 30 years ago, I made a documentary about why we love movies. That was the goal, was try to figure out what the power this art form had on people. And we went and we made this documentary. We traveled across the United States, and we did a lot of shooting in Los Angeles and at the Oscars and talked to a lot of people. And then we couldn't release the movie because I put all these film clips in it, and we couldn't sell the movie for more than we had the tens of thousands of dollars we had to buy the film clips. So the film got kind of shelved, and then the film lab went out of business, and they threw all the negative away. So the film was really lost for a long time until we discovered a videotape of it, and then I decided it was kind of like this time capsule that I think a lot of a movie geek and movie nerds love to see. So I repackaged it and kind of reformatted into something that we can see in our streaming age.
It is so great, James. This is Jan Wahl, and I have been pushing this thing like crazy. This is for everybody. It's not just film nerds, film geeks. Even though I'm both of those things, it's not just that. It's for anybody who's ever had a movie speak directly to their heart and to their mind. It's all of us. And like I just did a thing about movies about stutterers because of Biden taking over, and I did The King's Speech, and I did Music Man because the little boy stutters in that, and it's just. I mean, everything. Right now I'm doing one on powerful women because of Harris. And, I mean, there's so many movies that remind us that it's a way to speak to us. And this movie that you've made really talks to that, doesn't it?
Yes, it's an amazing thing, these motion pictures and what they do to us. As I was thinking last night about talking to you guys, and I think part of the magic of movies is it takes a three-dimensional world and puts it in a flat two-dimensional world. There's something incredibly powerful about that, especially if you're in a movie theater. That's why I think 3D movies never took off and never seemed to work, because there's something, it'll figure it out someday, but something magical about an image, a world placed into a rectangle in a dark room.
What about on... Go ahead, sorry. Well, I was just going to say, what about on the small screen now where we have to see so much? Does that pertain to that as well?
Well, I think, of course, some people have TVs the size of, a small car. So I think the film is a little poignant in terms of this place we are right now, which is an absolute major upheaval in motion pictures and how we consume them. I mean, people are watching 3 times as many movies as they used to, but of course they're seeing them in their home, sometimes under very good situations. So the film is a little nostalgic about, Martin Landau talks about being in a room with 1,000 people, seeing a story on the screen in front of you. And but I think certainly movies are extremely powerful, whether it's a screen in your home or in a dark room. Also bad movies are still bad movies no matter where you see them.
And you think about 1992, for nostalgia's sake, there's no internet, there was no social media. So when you went out to talk to these people, movies were still, outside of renting them on VHS, it was more of a communal type of thing, as we were talking about.
That's right, Rick. It was so amazing back then. We were outsiders. I lived in Texas at the time. We just called up the Academy and said, hey, we're making a movie. Can we come and shoot the Academy? The stars walking in, and there was no problem. There was no metal detectors. People would just wander in and sit in the stands and sleep there. the night before. I don't know how we got into Entertainment Tonight. I mean, it was a different world. And like you said, if you wanted to see a movie again, there was this brand new technology called the video cassette. And you could actually buy a movie and watch it over and over if you wanted to. That had never been possible in the history of the cinema until that time.
Well, so what's a film that changed your life?
Wow. Well,
first
several,
one that comes to mind, James. First one.
Well, I would say It's a Wonderful Life, probably.
There we go. Okay.
And I would
say, yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to go on and make a long list, but forget that. What was yours?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is Harold and Maude, and then because I'm an eccentric woman, and then also the movie Network because it's so prescient. You know, it was so real, and it stays real. So those two films, I think.
Both of those films are just top-notch writers, directors. I mean, I saw Harold and Maude again just this year because I've been catching up on a lot of movies. And one thing that struck me is how impossible for a studio to make that movie today. Of course, there's a long list of movies they don't make anymore. But that was, and the studio was afraid to release it. I did a little research on it. You know, they thought it was just too much.
And for me, I'd have to say the movie that changed my life was Police Academy 5.
Well, that's you.
Is that the one where O.J. Simpson gets ejected out of his wheelchair in Dodger Stadium or something?
Well, listen, this is zappictures.com. It's won so many awards. It's been selected at so many film festivals. And it's the film that keeps on giving. How do we check this out, James?
In the U.S. and Canada, it's on, I know you have an international audience, it's on Amazon, and it just got on IMDb TV like a few days ago. It's also on something called Tubi TV, which is a new network that's really popular. And then in a lot of other countries around the world, it is on Amazon Prime.
Can you tell us a little bit about The Little Kite before you go?
The Little Kite is a movie I've been trying to make for 5 years. Believe it or not, the nomination of Donald Trump and that whole thing back in 2016 caused this reaction in my brain. I had been to Guatemala and researching a project years and years ago with the Mayan people down there, and I wrote this script about this. It was really kind of inspired by the Bicycle Thieves and 400 Blows. I like the idea of having a child as a protagonist. And I was also very concerned about how I lived, Americans lived, and what we thought about, and how we stared at our phones 24 hours a day. And these people in these Mayan indigenous people in Guatemala, it's like going back in time, you know, several thousand years. And I wanted to write a story not about oppression or civil war or genocide or any of those things that you usually hear in that part of the world, but something about the resilient spirit and so forth. So I'm still trying to make that film, but that's a short capsule of what it's about.
One last question for you. When I look at the interviews that you did for this film, the name that really pops out to me is my dad's all-time favorite, Sid Caesar. What was it like to talk to Sid?
We were lucky to get into the Writers Guild Awards, and then while they're having the awards, these guys are just wandering around who are going to go on later. That's how we got Beau Bridges. But Sid Caesar, I remember we got him to sit down for a minute, and I couldn't. I was so excited, of course. And we didn't ask him the normal kind of interview questions. We asked him what he thought of movies and so forth. And he has a really interesting comment in the movie about if you're famous, what that means and what that the demands that's on you as a human being. He was. It was so great to see, the inside of people sometimes if you don't ask them the same standard questions.
Right.
There he is, right. James F. Robinson, Hollywood vet, director and producer of Tinsel, the lost movie about Hollywood. As he mentioned, it's on Tubi, it's on Amazon TV as well, IMDb TV. You can go to zappictures.com for more information. James, thanks so much for being on the show. Congratulations on resurrecting this gem here.
Thank you for making this
Thank you, Rick.
Fabulous.
Thank you, Jan. You guys are great. Thanks a lot.